Alright, what is going on, ladies and gents? Randy here with RTS Mobile Gaming, bringing you a fantastic video today. We are playing the Lord of the Rings Rise to War. And in today's video, we are celebrating Friday, baby. Happy Friday. Yes, it's Friday. That's right. So, in today's video, we'll be talking about an evolution to the Ugluk PvP build. I am going to be showing you a build here where I focus on sniper units against a Gandalf the Grey. As we all know, Gandalf the Grey is one of the toughest Tier 2 commanders to beat. He counters, 7 out of 10 commanders on the field. So if you aren't specifically built to kill him, you may have some challenges, okay? He will maybe force a draw, like he did here. So in this particular video, I am actually built to counter Gandalf. So we'll be taking a look at a Ugluk who's designed to counter Gandalf, fighting against a Gandalf, okay? As you can see, clearly I did not win the fight with a landslide victory. I just barely won the draw. If this draw resolves, I may lose it because all I have is snipers that are left. But for this particular battle, this one-step draw, I came out on top, victorious for the draw, okay? But like I said, if this goes to a second battle, I probably would have lost, all right? So, let's take a look at the build, all right? And we'll take a look at Gandalf's build, and we'll talk about what happened. So Ugluk's build here is designed to give a lot of plus damage to the snipers, okay? We have Reckoning here, which is going to give some good commander stats, as well as plus the attack. I don't care about Retaliate here. It doesn't really impact this build. This is just leftover gear from my Berserker build. But the plus 3 attack is very nice. The chest is going to be army defense because snipers have terrible defense, as well as burn damage protection. Just all around universally strong chest piece. Okay. For the helmet, this is going to have plus 2 attack to my snipers. The Determination, this is Lurtz's helmet that I stole. The Determination isn't going to help this build, but you get the idea. You could run an Anti-Madness helmet or something like that. Or the Berserker's Gaze with a different stat on it because the plus 2 attack is very nice, okay? Then we have the Palantir of Orthanc. This is going to help me counter Gandalf because, as we all know, Gandalf gives in rounds 1 and 3. Gandalf gives some good avoidance abilities to his units. So what I like to do is make sure I can counter that avoidance and get as much damage out as I can early in the fight, okay? So in rounds 1 and 3, this will counter Gandalf's avoidance with my units. Ugluk's attacks will still be affected by avoidance, all right? For the build itself, I've got 5,500 snipers in here with great damage, as you can see here. Check. Very nice. Then we have some great beasts over here. These are going to be great because they're going to increase the damage of my snipers by 20% from rounds 2 through 10. And then I have some champions in here, just a few to give the damage debuff. The wild beasts should keep them alive until later in the fight, so 100 of them is probably fine. Okay? Build-wise, you can see here I've got the R5 and the R3 with 22 points each, and then I have my leftover points down here in the Pursuer tree. This is going to give me a little bit of damage output, not a whole lot. It's not a full damage build, but it'll be a nice little complement to help out my archers. Okay, since I'm not using melee units for damage, I don't need the Respect 3 tree, which means the extra points can go into Pursuer, okay? As far as my opponent, his gear is not quite up to my level. As you can see, he has decent gear. It's yellow, but it's not, 3-star, 4-star like my gear. So just keep that in mind as we review this build. This Ugluk build is built to counter Gandalf, right? And my gear is higher level than his, and I barely won the draw, so. All right? Okay, so for the units, Gandalf is using a mixture of Bow Knights, right? He's got a mixture of Ram Riders in there for the armor penetration. And then he has some Cataphracts for overall tankiness. My snipers will cut right through the Cataphracts here. This will not apply for my sniper damage, right? So very, very strong. And then build-wise, he's got a decent respect level Gandalf. He has his Mithrandir tree maxed out at 29 out of 29. He's got his Gandalf the Grey tree down here over at 24 out of 29. He's got a big focus on his avoidance. Like I said, this is going to be challenging for my units if I don't have the pursuit buff, but I do have the pursuit buff up until round 3, so I will counter the first instance of that, okay? But later in the fight, when fleeting movements reappears, it will affect my damage, okay? And then he has a few points into the wizard and surge to give himself that stun and armor negation, okay? How do these builds perform? Well, let's take a quick lookaroo. You can see here that I have Ugluk with 61k damage, just about 60k damage. Okay, we've got my snipers and my other units with pretty good damage. Damage received is 144 versus damage dealt for my whole army is 234. So about 90,000 more damage output than Gandalf. Okay, for the units that did the damage, you can clearly see here the champions and wild beasts did almost nothing. But the snipers did absolutely fantastic damage output, guys. That's pretty good. That is pretty solid damage output for the snipers, okay? So I will, oops, there's my face. My face go. There it is, my face is back. So that's pretty solid damage output for the snipers. There's no denying it. For the enemies, they had a good mixture of damage across the board. Looks like the Ram Riders took the cake. The Bowknights really didn't put out much damage because keep in mind that my snipers target the Bowknights first and they get bonus damage versus the Bowknights, right? So the snipers have this ability here where I get 30% bonus damage against ranged. So they should absolutely shred the ranged units. Let's take a real quick look at rounds 1 and 2 here. Then we'll jump down to like round 6, and then we'll give you my summary, okay? So here in round 1, I get my stacking white hand damage from Ugluk's white hand ability. Also, my sniper units are immune to stun because, as you can see here, oh no, that's the helmet. Wrong thing. The snipers are immune to stun somewhere from Ugluk's ability. Let me find it. Here it is. The snipers are immune to stun from Ugluk's tier 5 ability, Untiring, so they will counter Gandalf's early round stuns as well, okay? So here in round 1, guys, the snipers punching the Bowknights. 18,000 damage output. They only have 5% damage bonus from the white hand. Now they're going to get bonuses from the wild yell going into round 2. That's 20% bonus damage from Wild Yell, an additional 5% bonus damage from the White Hand, for a total of 25% damage increase, okay? So the snipers in round 2 will be dealing 25% greater damage than in round 1, which we'll see appear here, all right? Here we go. The snipers went up from 18,000 damage to 22,000 damage. No debate there, folks. Very strong damage output. I really am enjoying that. Okay, very, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, so that's rounds 1 and 2. Let's jump down to round 6, guys. Let's see how round 6 looks here. Okay, here we go. Well, let's start with round 5. We're in round 5. Let's do round 5. So, it looks like my wild beasts are dead. The great beasts could be dead. They could have died. The champions died, and the great beasts both died in round 4. So going to round 5, my snipers are taking full damage. Okay. The snipers have killed the Bowknights in round 5. Here in round 6, I now have 30% bonus damage. And the snipers were afflicted by the fleeting movements, the dodge ability from Gandalf. So even though I have huge damage output, Gandalf's avoidance is affecting me. Here we go. The snipers hitting the cataphracts for 19,000 damage there, guys. And here in round 8, the white hand, 40% damage bonus. Hitting the Ram Riders for 18k. So, I mean, a lot of damage. A lot of damage output. And the nice thing about the snipers is even though they're the only units left on the field and their defense is super low, they take a lot of reduced damage from melee, so that's really helping them survive. Okay, so to recap, folks, I think that this build was created to counter the Gandalf build that you see here. it was not as successful as I expected or as I hoped, but the lessons learned here are that I was able to counter some of Gandalf's mechanics, and I was able to put out pretty significant damage with the snipers themselves. So I like the potential of where this build could go with some different gear, right? If I changed out that chest piece and that weapon to give my units more damage, you know, the Ranger's Shroud for the chest, another +2, +3 attack. I think if I really maximize their damage and increase their damage output, and then maybe decrease their unit count by 2 or 3 command to put those into the front lines. Once they lost the Great Beast's bonus after round 5, because the Great Beast died in round 4, that's a 20% damage loss for the rest of the fight. So it is worth considering. That's basically like having 10 extra command. So it is worth considering replacing 2 or 3 command to increase the number of Great Beasts. Maybe get an extra 2 rounds of Great Beasts out of that and keep my damage bonus alive, okay? So, thanks for watching. I love you guys a long time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Randy out.